The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/stream and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in Virginia. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now it's time for another fanschmabulous episode of
The Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
You're going to tell this listening audience, who adores me, let's be honest.
Oh, behave.
Jeff Lutz.
I'm spreading my wing. This is me to the nth degree.
Wow! Hey! Isn't that exciting? 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Stand by for action.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's a Tuesday edition, the Bob and Jeff Show on KFH Radio. Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz co-hosting, Max Power producing, engineering, and as always, 869-1240 is our phone number. Ted Woodward giving your Indiana Pacers some love in his sports update. Winners of 7 of 8 beat the Celtics last night.
Sure did.
You watched that over the national championship game, which makes no
Barely
sense.
made it through the end of the Pacers game. Very tired last night. Didn't even get to watch the press conferences or anything. So when I went to sleep, I think it was still halftime or thereabouts, 17-10, Michigan against Washington. And that was it. That was curtains for me.
Washington could have won the game, but Michael Penix, who Max played a promo of, me saying he should have won the Heisman, thanks, Max, made me look foolish. Didn't play well.
Why was
Did
Ted
not
talking
have
about
his
the Pacers?
Did not have his A game.
No, he didn't, I guess.
Bothered me. I kept waiting for Washington to explode, but Michael Penix, I'm going to be honest here, because you know what I am. I'm forthright. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. Michael Penix looked scared of that Michigan pass rush, like a deer in the headlights.
I don't know, maybe.
Got rid of the ball too soon, too carelessly. Was not impressed with him. And I'll guarantee you he hurt his NFL stock last night. Those guys want you to be able to stand in that pocket.
We'll see.
Or move up in the pocket. Or you got to be a pocket manager. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to play in the NFL as a quarterback, you better be able to manage the pocket.
Please stop.
Well, no, I'm serious.
I don't want this. Are you now combine guy? What are you doing here?
No, I'm being serious with you. I'm trying to get you to engage.
I don't want to talk about the pocket.
I was bothered by Michael Penix's awareness and I won't say ability because he has the ability, but his willingness to manage the pocket.
Well, it's not always.
I don't know how else to put it.
It's not always him. If the defense is coming after you, you got to get rid of the ball. You can't just.
I understand, but
get killed.
there were several times in that game where he could have made something happen. He missed a wide open receiver in the first half with what should have been a touchdown. It was just a little bit irritating because this is a guy that yesterday on this show I promoted heavily.
And in that promo we just heard.
Well, that's Max's fault.
Well, that's your fault. You said it.
And then playing it. And then, everybody tells me, well, these promos, they just appear randomly. I'm not buying it. That was purposely done to make me look bad.
You should have waited a day to make all these proclamations. J.J. McCarthy didn't play super well, but Michigan has a better team around him.
You know what he did?
He had a good defense.
He managed the pocket.
He
didn't look scared of the moment. And their running game was very good, especially in the first half. Edwards had 2 touchdown runs of over 40 yards. I don't know if that's ever happened in a national championship game.
I don't know either. I'd have to check, but I assume somewhere it has.
2
Yeah,
of over 40?
I would guess that
The
it
longest
has.
touchdown run had been, I may get that wrong. I believe Reggie Bush had a 50-yard run.
That's the longest in a national championship
That's what
game.
I believe I saw on the show last night. But I could be wrong. So I'm not going to completely validate that. It may have been in the, I don't know. But I know I saw that. He was the only person in the national championship game to rush for 2 touchdowns of over 40 yards. That's impressive. To me, that means something. What are you looking up?
In the CFP championship game, Derrick Henry had a 50-yarder. I don't
I
go
thought
back.
Reggie Bush had one. Maybe I confused the two. But, okay, that validates what I said. 50 yards, the longest touchdown run in the college football playoff championship game. And we've had that for a while now. Now, no more 4 teams. We go to 12 next year. The outcry today is that the best team in the country didn't even play in the playoffs.
Georgia.
Which has some credibility. You could make a very good case for that.
Of course it does. But the committee backed itself into a corner.
Right.
Had to pick Alabama, so that meant they had to pick Texas, which had beaten Alabama, which means
Texas shouldn't have been in it.
Probably
Should
not.
have been Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, and Washington. And Texas shouldn't have been in it. I'll stand by that until who knows when.
Well, Texas did not make any waves in the CFP.
Next year we don't have to worry about it. 12-team playoff. Is K-State in the playoff next year?
No.
Does the Big 12 get 2?
I would say that's unlikely.
Well, the
'Cause-
SEC gets 4.
And the Big Ten gets at
3.
least 3, maybe
3.
4.
They won't get tipped.
Oregon,
4.
Washington, Michigan, Ohio State,
They won't get those 4. I'm going to tell you right now.
or
The
USC.
ACC will get 1. There'll be an at-large.
2 at large.
The Big 12 will get 2. And I predict it to be Kansas State and Utah.
Kansas State's not.
No,
making the
Arizona.
playoff.
Kansas State and Arizona.
I saw a projection.
Man, you don't understand how good Avery Johnson's going to be. You don't get it.
He's not going to be Georgia good.
You don't understand it.
I do
That's
understand.
a shame. You don't know how good he's going to be next year.
I know just fine how he'll be.
You don't know how good
But he's not.
K-State's going to be.
He's not going to the playoff. You again, just take things a little too far every time. I admire it on some level. I mean, why not put yourself out there, go on a limb? But
Here's what you do.
It eliminates any kind of
I don't think you're
contest.
right about that. I think
Well, you're dead wrong. It's too far. It's so far that it's almost even impossible.
Will K-State go to the playoffs next year? 869-1240
Here's
is
the
the number if you want to refute. Refute. I love that word. It sounds almost like swearing, but it's not there.
Here's the Athletics.
Now listen to me.
I don't care. Refute.
You know what? If you don't want to be on this
You
show
don't
with
even
me,
know the-
you need to get out of here.
You don't even know the
Because-
definition of refute.
Because I am.
You're looking for rebuke or rebut.
No, refute.
No, refute means prove somebody wrong.
Right.
They're not going to prove you
Prove
wrong.
him wrong.
No, they're not going to prove you wrong because you stated an opinion.
Rebut.
So here's
That's
the.
almost another word that. Go ahead.
Here's the.
You're also serious over there.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. Here's the CFP
Am I
projection.
slipping that much? I don't even care about the CFP.
I'm going to give
projection.
it to you, and you just think about which teams. The 2 at-larges are Notre Dame and Liberty.
Liberty ain't going anywhere, my friend.
Oh, you have to have one from the group of 5.
They are not that group. Did
Well,
you see how badly they got beat by Oregon?
It doesn't matter. I mean, somebody has to go from one of those conferences.
Okay, keep going.
1 through 4 are the 4 highest-rated conference champions, which are going to be the Power 4 now. Georgia 1, Oregon 2, Clemson 3, and Utah 4. So we can pretty much assume the ACC's not getting 2.
Utah's vastly. Listen, I like Utah. They have a good coach. They're not going to be in K-State's world.
Your 5-12 matchup is Alabama Liberty, 6-11 Ohio State Notre Dame, 7-10
Notre Dame. Get back to me when Notre Dame is in the college
7-10
football
Texas Ole Miss, and 8-9 Michigan Washington.
No Missouri.
No.
No Arizona.
Of course not.
Here's Mark Schlabach. Is that how you say his name?
I think so.
From ESPN.com, who's a guy I go to, even though I can't pronounce his name, for my college football information. Number one is very early top 25 next year. Georgia 1, Texas 2, Oregon 3, Alabama 4, Ohio State 5, Michigan 6, Ole Miss 7, Missouri 8, Arizona 9, Notre Dame 10, Washington 11, Penn State 12, Utah 13, LSU 14, Oklahoma 15, Florida State 16, Tennessee 17, Oklahoma State 18, Clemson 19, NC State 20, K-State 21, Louisville 22, Kansas 23. What did I say?
You said they
Both
could be a
teams
top
would be
10.
in the top 25. I said that.
No, you said they'd be in the top.
They do have the capability of being in the top 10.
In the
I
preseason,
believe,
you said.
No, I never said
You said
that.
it.
No, I
You said
didn't.
it. Max.
I did not.
Rewind the tape.
SMU 24. They'll be in the ACC. And Iowa 25. So there you go.
Aren't you pretty bored by about 11 through 25 or 9?
No, because I'm more bullish on Kansas State and Kansas than you are.
No, I get
So
that.
I look forward to next football season, seeing them make me look good.
No, I get that. They're not making you look good. Everybody has them in their top 25.
No, I mean higher. What the K-State's picked? What, 4th in the Big 12 according to these rankings?
Well, who was ahead of them?
Let me look at that again, because if they're 4th or 5th in the Big 12, how are they going to be? Why are they rated number 21 in the preseason?
Because there's only 4 conferences
18 Oklahoma State. Well, give me a break. So they're rated higher than K-State. 13 Utah. Okay, that might no, and 9 Arizona. So you've got 3 teams ahead of them in the Big 12, which I don't think is going to be the case.
Hard to say. K-State has not necessarily proven, even with good starts and good teams and good rosters and capable everything, that they can go a season without losing 3 or 4.
But you know why people put stock in what I say?
No.
Because I'm usually right.
I really don't. Honestly, I have no idea.
You really
why.
don't?
No.
So what you're doing is tarnishing my many years as a newspaper columnist,
I'll say this, though.
in which I put out great thought and tried to support it. What are you?
I don't
about
like
to
when
say?
anybody puts a whole lot of stock in what anybody says.
Really?
I mean, I value people's opinions.
Do
and
you
things,
value
but-
mine?
Yeah, I value it, but it doesn't
Do
guide
you
me.
put stock in it. If you could buy stock, if the New York Stock Exchange tomorrow allowed you to buy stock in my opinion,
What? Give me one
and
opinion that I'd be able to.
and they said for every right opinion, this stock's going to shoot up, and for every wrong opinion, it's
Why
going
don't
to
we-
drop. And you started with $100. At the end of a year, how much money would you have?
$2 million?
Right. Right.
Right, by betting against you.
No, by putting stock into what I say.
Oh, well, I have none after the first day or two. So if I put $1,000 on your opinion, I don't even know how stocks work. So let's just end this right now. Anyway, I'd make
I'm
money.
very active in the stock
If
market.
I would make money against your pick of K-State and the CFP.
I bet they finish higher than 4th in the Big 12.
4th isn't bad.
I bet they finish higher. Yes?
What's their non-conference schedule?
Don't care.
In
they're
fact, what is their schedule?
I don't know. Look it up. It's not up to me to look for it.
It could be up to anybody.
If this is something you're interested in learning, it's not my job to teach you. So I'm
I
curious
guess.
about their schedule as well. K-State loses Will Howard, of course. They lose Cooper Beebe from their offensive line. They lose tight end Ben Sinnott, big loss. Safety Kobe Savage, wide receiver Phillip Brooks, running back Treshaun Ward, defensive end Nate Matlack, and cornerback Will Lee. They are adding, this is according to ESPN and Mark Schlabach, some good players. I don't know these guys. I don't know that they'd mean much to our listeners. But to me, the big difference is that youngster they have at quarterback. I think he's going to be fantastic. And I think he'll be fantastic next year.
All right. Here's K-State's schedule. UT Martin.
Win.
At Tulane.
Win. Although Tulane's changing coaches.
They'll win. I mean, let's be honest.
They'll win at Tulane.
You would think.
But Tulane's had a good program. Next.
Arizona at home.
Tough one. That's a great opener.
It will tell us a lot, won't it?
That is so fascinating. That's an incredible game. For the opener of Big 12 play for the Wildcats, both Wildcats. What date is that?
September 14th.
That's so early for that game to happen.
Well, they only have 2 non-conference games.
Keep going.
This is the way of the world, man. Used to have 3, now you have 2. At BYU.
Win.
At Colorado.
Win.
Yeesh.
Colorado's not even ranked in March.
Colorado's going to improve. At Houston.
Win.
4 road games in a row. At Iowa State.
Tough one, but win.
Arizona State at home.
Win.
What a weird schedule. Oklahoma State at home.
Win.
Kansas at home.
They never beat Oklahoma. Kansas at home, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, date TVA. Cincinnati at home.
Should be a win. Cincinnati will get better, but should be a win.
And then you have at West Virginia.
Read me Kansas's schedule, because that's a pretty tough one. They don't have Utah, right? K-State doesn't play Utah.
No. Who did Cincinnati beat the other day?
In basketball, they went on the road and won at BYU.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Which I tried to tell you that was going to be an interesting game. And you again, well, what do you know? You're 700 years old.
No, I didn't. I agreed with you.
No, I don't.
Somehow,
that's not how I recall it.
Somehow K-State or KU has 3 non-conference games. So maybe K-State's looking to add one. Lindenwood. That's a game. At Illinois. And then
they better win that game.
And then UNLV.
They better be 3-0. They're much better than UNLV. They better win at Illinois, and they'd be 3-0 going into the conference. What's their opening conference game?
At Arizona State.
Interesting, but they'll win that one.
At Baylor.
Baylor's in a rebuilding mode. I think they'll beat Baylor.
At BYU.
Do these teams play any games at home?
I don't know if this is in order.
Well, KU's home. We don't know where KU's home is. At BYU.
Yeah.
They'll win that one.
Home against Colorado.
Win.
Home against TCU.
I don't think TCU's in a great place. Win.
Home against Houston.
Win.
Home against Iowa State.
Win.
At Kansas State.
That one I don't have a pick yet.
And at West Virginia.
That's an easy. Who do they not play in the Big 12?
They didn't play Utah.
They don't play Arizona, do they?
They don't play Arizona.
They don't play Utah or Arizona. Do they play Oklahoma State?
No.
I mean, are you kidding? Are you kidding?
They don't play any of those schools.
They're the ones that are ranked.
I know, so KU's looking pretty good.
KU's got it set up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, good. Now you agree with me.
Well, yeah, the schedule tells me. But we don't know. I mean, Colorado might be really good, maybe.
Maybe, but
that is a home game.
But we don't know about Colorado. And we know, according to all the prognosticators, that Arizona, Utah, and apparently Oklahoma State are going to be pretty good, right?
They're the ones that are
ranked. KU has only one opponent ranked in the very early Mark Schlabach, top 25.
K-State.
And that's K-State.
Right. Who they'll play every year.
And they play K-State. Where do they play them this year? What'd you
Manhattan.
just say?
In Manhattan.
Well, it's fascinating. KU lined up to do something.
Seems like it.
All right.
Good luck to them.
Here's what the show looks like today. Coming up next, we've got the brothers Kinnaman, Kurt and Clint.
Really?
Kurt, the head coach at McPherson High School. Clint, the head coach at Remington High School. They both made their mark for a long time in coaching in the state of Kansas. So we look forward to talking to them. At 2:45, Aubrey Sherrod. Last week we had Cliff Levingston. You notice a little theme?
I guess so.
I'm trying to go back to 80s Shocker basketball.
All right, well, give me Sasha Radunovich, and we'll have something.
Love Aubrey Sherrod. He'll join us at 2:45, and then a game coming up in hour number 2 at 3:25.
The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/stream and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in Virginia. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, we are joined by the brothers Kinnaman. Clint, who is the head coach at Remington High School, nearby Whitewater, and Kurt, the head coach at McPherson, up the road from Wichita, about a little less than an hour away. Both highly successful boys basketball coaches. Guys, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing fine. This is Clint, by the
Who's that
way, and I'll tell you
speaking?
what, this is Clint, and it's going to be tough to tell the difference between our voices, would be my guess.
I was going to say, I know that's Kurt, but I was wrong.
Kurt, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. Nice
Wait
to
a
be
minute,
on,
that's
and,
the same guy.
Yeah, well, I told Clint he could do the whole thing. No, yeah, we sound alike, and our mom and dad sometimes have trouble with that too, believe it or not.
So full disclosure, when I reached out to Clint today to get your number, Kurt, my intent was to just have you on and to get Clint maybe at a later date because we like both of you very well. But Clint said, I'd be much better on radio. So that convinced me to go for both of you.
Now, Clint said I would be much more enjoyable to talk to.
There you go. That's
Probably
probably
right.
a better way to put it.
He thinks he's the nicer brother, but he's really not. I'm a lot calmer than he is usually.
Kurt, let's start with you. You got a very good McPherson team, undefeated, just an amazing heritage and tradition in that community when it comes to basketball. How many years now at McPherson?
This is my 29th year as head coach, and I was a freshman coach for 5 years. So this is actually my 34th year having something to do with McPherson basketball.
Well, I can't think of anybody who has more firsthand knowledge of what basketball has meant to that community. How has it stayed so strong? What drives basketball in a place like McPherson?
Well, people are very knowledgeable about the way that the game is supposed to be played. And even though the game has evolved, we still try to do it what I consider to be the right way. And I know it's the same way that Clint does it, and that's being unselfish. That's being able to guard somebody. That's carrying the basketball, making an extra pass, and recognizing that individual accolades aren't as important as team accolades. And I was walking out last night out of practice with my assistant coach of 20 years, Gordon Peck. He's come back for since he's been gone for 9 years, and he's coming back. And I just said, I said, "Are you having fun?" And Coach Peck said, "Yeah, I'm having fun." And I said, we really need to recognize how lucky we are. Here we are. We've had a game postponed because of snow day. And I remember when I was in high school, I'd pout around and have a terrible practice. And these kids were excited to practice. They were excited to be in the gym. And I said, it's not that way everywhere, Gordon. And so I count my blessings every day that I get to be the head coach of McPherson High School.
Clint, I'm just curious with you, because, and I don't want to paint you as some like coaching nomad, because you were at St. John for a really long time and had a whole lot of success there. But the last few years, it was first East and now Remington. And I'm just curious what that does to your life, what it's like to change jobs. I assume you probably moved. You had conversations with your family. Can you just take us inside kind of that process for a coach, especially at the high school level when you change jobs?
Well, a lot of people are probably not dumb enough to change jobs right in the middle of a pandemic. But I was one that was dumb enough to do that. We'd had a lot of success at St. John because of the community and the kids. And, like Kurt was talking about, those kids knew how to play the right way. And, once you got it kind of going, the younger kids saw what the older ones were doing. The expectations were there. As far as what was expected in practice, what was expected as far as their effort, how they acted in the community. Not only that, but, as well as playing the game the right way. To be honest, it was kind of the teaching aspect. I was a little bit bored with what we were doing. Thought, hey, let's try something different. Looked into the East job, interviewed a couple others. Turned down some other jobs and decided to take a huge plunge, in the middle of COVID and took a job at East. And, I came in with my eyes, wide open. I knew it was going to be a lot different as far as the expectations as a coach, the expectations, how the kids were how shall I say this, the situations they're growing up in, and I was trying to hopefully give those kids the same kind of experience that we had at St. John, very family type situation. And, we tried really hard and we had a pretty good first year. Second year, we had a lot of turmoil, and I had gotten to where, it wasn't going to be good for me. So fortunately, the Remington job opened up. I've really enjoyed my time at Remington so far. We had a pretty good year last year. Community really is wanting a good basketball team, and they're extremely supportive. The kids are extremely hardworking. Right now, we're really, really young. So, we're going to take some lumps down the road this season just because of the youth that we're playing. But I'm excited to be where I am. I'm glad that I tried it at East, and it just wasn't for me. But, I'm really enjoying where I'm at now at Remington.
Talking to the brothers Kinnaman, Clint, and Kurt, both have coached in the state of Kansas for a long time. So, first of all, what's the difference in your ages? Kurt, what's the difference? Who's the older brother here?
Well, if you looked at us, you'd say that Clint's obviously the oldest, but I am 3 years older than Clint. So, yep, I've been at it a little bit looking at. Depends on if you're looking at the grayness of the hair or the thinning of the hair. If you're looking at the thinning, you say I was the oldest, but the gray.
I didn't anticipate that. I didn't anticipate that becoming an argument, but I love it because I'm sure it's not the first argument you guys have had.
Many in the driveway 40 years ago.
So when you both, when you grow up and you're together and you both kind of get into the basketball and you both become coaches and both highly successful coaches, does that create any kind of a rivalry between the two of you? Did it? Are you past it? How does that work?
Oh,
you want to take that one?
Sure.
Who's going to answer that? I'll let Kurt go.
This is Kurt. All right, so probably early on there was a little bit, and when I was a freshman coach at McPherson, Clint was at Claflin and coaching the greatest high school girls basketball player ever playing the state of Kansas, in Jackie Stiles, and I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't a little bit jealous of that, but he's my best friend. We bounce things off each other. We grew up extremely competitive with each other. You look at the paths that we followed. It's kind of interesting. We both went to Hutch JUCO. He ended up playing a year of football also at Hutch JUCO. Then we both went to McPherson College, and I ended up playing a year of football at McPherson College, and he was the quarterback and played basketball at McPherson College. So our collegiate careers were almost identical. And so we kind of had the same mentors growing up. At Hutch JUCO, I had Gary Bargan. He had Dave Farrar. And then, of course, we both had Coach Trimmel at McPherson College. So we kind of learned the game of basketball through the same people. And early on, Clint and I became involved with Coach Williams' basketball camp at Kansas. And, that was a great resource to have, not necessarily Coach Williams, but his assistants and being around those guys. And so still to this day, a lot of the things that we do, we're learned from KU when Coach Williams was there, and then we've kind of continued the same relationship with Coach Self, and he's been very open in letting us come to his practices, and he has treated us very, very well. But it's nice to know that you have resources who are not only the best high school and also college coaches in the country. And so that's kind of a cool thing and a thing that we've enjoyed together. There's nothing better than the 2 weeks that Clint and I spend together working at Bill Self's basketball camp every summer, because you get to talk a lot of basketball with a lot of great guys, but we also get to play golf every afternoon. And that's, if you want to talk about where we are still very highly competitive and rivals, just meet us down at Sand Creek Station sometime.
That would be fun. Sure, Jeff.
We have we've got just a very minimal bet every year, to see who's going to win the total summer, stroke challenge. So it's been kind of fun. It kind of goes back and forth year to year.
So Clint Kenneman, our guest. Clint, the head coach at Remington High School in Whitewater. Kurt, the head coach for many years at McPherson. Go ahead.
So Clint, what was that like for you growing up a few years younger, kind of following in the footsteps? And I don't like that phrase because I have a relative who's sitting right in front of me whose footsteps I kind of followed, and I heard about it a lot. So did you hear about it a lot? Were you referred to more as Kurt's brother or as your first name growing up?
Well, Kurt was a tremendous high school basketball player. In fact, he still holds the state record for points per game. I guess I probably was growing up in his shadow a little bit as a basketball player. I was probably a better football player than what I was a basketball player, but my passion was basketball, so I ended up going into, playing at Hutch my freshman year under Gary Bargan in basketball, and then I decided I wanted to play both the following year, so I gave that a whirl. But, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Kurt, what he's done as a player. Obviously, what he's done as a coach is just, off the charts. But like he said, we do share information with each other. If I'm struggling with, hey, what are we going to do against this? I don't hesitate to give him a call. He's the same way with me. So, when your best friend is also a really good coach and a trusted colleague, you don't hesitate to give him a shout.
All right, before we let you go, Kurt, I got to ask you, and by the way, both of these guys are from the great town of St. John out in western Kansas. So I got to ask you, Kurt, about your team because you're undefeated. Are you playing the game tonight against Augusta, or did weather get the best of you?
Weather got us, but we are fortunate. We got one canceled last Friday also, and so we're going to play Augusta tomorrow night. So we're not going to be able to practice today, but we're going to go in tomorrow night, and we are ready to play a game.
So besides your name being synonymous with McPherson basketball, the Pile name is also synonymous with McPherson basketball, and I swear it's never gonna end. The pipeline is forever. You got 3 Piles on your roster. One's a sophomore, one's a junior, one's a senior. What the heck is you struck gold in that one, didn't you?
We've had others too.
Yeah, certainly those 3 and down through the years. You know, Ben Pyle and Drew Pyle were both Mr. Kansas basketball players, obviously, and it goes way further than that, all the way back to Ed Pyle, and so it's nice to have those brothers here in town, and those 3 Eds, 2 are brothers, and one's a cousin, and they've been integral to our success this year. There's no doubt about that.
Well, good stuff. I'm glad that I had the wherewithal to say to myself, it'd be better to get both of these guys on the show rather than just one, and I'm happy we did. We appreciate both of you. Thank you for coaching and helping kids, and best of luck the rest of the way, Clint and Kurt Kinnaman.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
All right.
Thanks for having us
Thank
on.
you, Bob.
All right, take care. All right, the Kinnaman boys, the Kinnaman brothers.
There they were.
Who grew up in St. John, went to Hutch, McPherson College. Great Kansas stories as far as I'm concerned. I like stuff like that. You know that.
Of course.
Where is St. John, Kansas?
Western Kansas.
Of course, that's what I said. About what part of Western
Alexa
Kansas?
wanted to ask or answer where St. John,
About what
Kansas.
part? Give me a general.
Kind of in that southwestern part of the state.
Not really. St. John's more directly west of Hutchinson, probably 60 miles.
Yeah, that's kind of in the southern.
No, you couldn't be more wrong. I'll look it up on a map. I've been there a few times. I covered the St. John Midwinter Classic one year. I don't know. I don't remember why. I didn't really cover the games. I went out to do a column on what mid-season tournaments meant to communities like St. John. They've had the Midwinter Classic in St. John forever.
Yeah, and
Dodge
City has one.
Well, but I'm talking about the real small towns.
Okay, what others?
Well, you got Chanute, you got Halstead. There's a few others. I'd need some time to think, but I chose to go out to St. John and write about that one. Aubrey Sherrod joins us on the hotline. Former Shocker great, former Heights great. How many times can I use the word great, Aubrey?
Well, I guess many times you won't, Bob. It's no worries now. How you doing,
Jeff?
Been?
First of all, it's been a little while. How you doing? How you surviving
Pretty
the cold
good.
here?
It's okay. I'm staying inside, trying to avoid that coldness outside. So, looking forward to better weather, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little frigid. So let's get your take. Once a Shocker, always a Shocker. Once a Falcon, always a Falcon. So first, your take on Wichita State basketball. They've hit a rough patch here in Paul Mill's first season. We talked at length about them yesterday. I think they're missing floor leadership. That's their number one thing, I think, that I see them missing. What are your thoughts so far on Wichita State basketball?
Yeah, I can echo what you're saying as far as floor leadership and Xavier Bell and Kobe Rogers and Kenny Poto, those guys with the experience from the Shocker from the past. Someone needs to step up and be able to lead the team out of this slump there. And they're struggling as a team totally. And hopefully we can find a way to get those guys to play together, and hopefully they can find a way to get themselves out of this situation they're in right now.
Sometimes I don't enunciate well. I was talking about their floor leadership. instead of just leadership as a whole. But yeah, and I don't know. I don't know who the leaders are on the Shockers.
Yeah, I think, Bob, in a situation like that, when you don't know who the leader is, someone has to step up. And sometimes I can just kind of relate back to our era where you can lead by example or you can lead by someone who's vocal. And we had guys like Xavier and Antoine and Cliff and Antoine Carr and the other guys on our team, James Bug-Eye Gibbs. They led by just playing hard and playing together. And when you in a situation like they're in right now, in this 4-game losing streak, you have to have someone verbally to step up and find a way to get themselves out of it. And it starts really in practice, and it starts with them willing to make the sacrifice as a team to realize, hey, when we are in a tough situation right now, and we're in this tough situation as far as we need a great basket or we need a situation where we need to get a team or get a player involved, we have to sacrifice as a team and get the ball to a certain player when you're struggling like this.
What do you think, Aubrey, that the message, I don't know who it would come from necessarily, but how I guess do you think the fans should be feeling about this? I know a lot of people are itching for a return to glory. There have been 2+ now years of kind of being down, not as good as expected with in the past personnel that are now in the NBA, 3 guys. So, you know, what would you tell fans? Is it right to still preach patience with a group of fans that's not being patient because it's a first-year coach, or how would you even address that?
It's a combination of fans being patient, and we are having turnover. We just lost IB just recently as a head coach, and now we turn over a new coach and Coach Mills, and he got to implement his system in, and he got to get his players in through whether it's transfer portal or going out recruiting. So it's a combination of being patient, and you're right about what we have been spoiled as fans in the glory days of Coach Marshall and making it to the NCAA tournament and then making it to the Final Four in 2013. So we're at a different stage right now as a fan, but the key right now is when we are at this adversity time, you still need the fan support. So hopefully the fans can continue to come out and support the team, and hopefully coming up this Sunday against Memphis, they can come in and maybe support the fans, support the players, and hopefully get out of this slump right now. But it takes a combination of things to get this back on track.
Aubrey Sherrod, our guest, one of the great scorers and players in Wichita State basketball history. So you mentioned some of your teammates, and it's a who's who. X, Cliff, Antoine, others. If NIL had existed in your day, how many of those players could Wichita State have held on to for the 4 years that all of you played there? Well, except for Cliff, who played 2, I believe.
Yeah, 2 years, 3 years. It's hard to say, Bob, because now with NIL and players wanting to play immediately and opportunities out there for other university to more likely poach the players. And you can have situations where even you see today where certain players are not satisfied with their playing time, or they might feel like they don't fit in a certain situation as they were at the beginning of their careers in college. So it's kind of hard to project what would have happened back in the days, but I think with our coaching staff we had with Coach Smithson and Coach Shore and Coach Jones and the community that supported us back in the day, I think, Bob, we probably would have found a way to keep all our players there. And plus, we were in a very unique situation when I played with those guys we just mentioned. That one thing I've always tell people when we have these conversations that we all had our different personalities, but the one thing about it was when we showed up at 7:30 at night, we put aside our own selfish personal goals and we played unselfishly. Now, sometimes regrettably, we hope that people like Antoine and X could have been a little bit more aggressive because they were so physically talented than most of the players, but more likely we all played together and we all got along with each other. And I thought that was really the key back in those days to that success we had, that we knew what our roles were and we played it very well. We played at a high level.
How do you look at NIL, Aubrey, from a personal standpoint? Do you look at it as, you were part of an era where, the game was growing a lot and, but maybe by the time you were out of school that the NCAA tournament was really starting to gain a major foothold or all over TV and things like that? Or do you feel like you missed out by not getting some of those opportunities for NIL and other things?
I think, Jeff, that I don't feel like I missed out because we're all born at a certain time in our lives. So sometimes in life, you just have to deal with what you have at that certain moment. But as far as opportunities, I think it's great for finally the players actually getting a piece of the pie. I mean, I think the one untold story still is that with the TV contracts, whether it's football or whether it's basketball, Dylan, in our conference, AAC, we're only exclusively basketball as far as Wichita State, that the players are still not being compensated as far as with TV packages. So if they can find a way, I think personally, if we really want to start to be fair, just double the stipend for everybody across the board. I think that might be a start of not having so much transfer portal and a lot of people making second decisions to go to another school. Now, granted, with the exception with the great players, as you know, whether it's in football, you hear stories about football players getting $1 million or $2 million, and well-earned and well-deserved. But to keep a balance of the other players and the other student athletes, I think they should start out with just trying to double the stipend. I think that would put a hold a little bit on the transfer portal.
Visiting with Aubrey Sherrod here on the Bob and Jeff Show. So we've talked a lot about Wichita State and NIL. Let's go back to your more formative years at Heights High School, where you were a 3-year standout, became a McDonald's All-American, one of the leading scorers in City League history. With all that you accomplished in basketball, how many of your memories are traced back to those years at Heights, Aubrey?
Very much so, Bob, as far as me being a hometown guy and having support from my family and my friends here locally, and still having contact with some of the former players I played with in the past in high school, and we still hang out every once in a while. And as a matter of fact, one of my high school teammates, Harold Pitts, who was a point guard for us, and Greg Davis, who went to Wichita Heights and then transferred to Capon to play with Greg Dryling. We're probably going to go to a couple of Wichita State basketball games like we normally do every year, every once in a while. So I still have the contact memories with those guys, and it still stings, Bob, believe it or not making it to the state my sophomore year and then losing to South High by 2 points my senior year. So even though it was 40-plus years ago, you always remember those tough losses and what could have been with the teams we had. But I still definitely enjoy those conversations we do have every once in a while about our past and playing at Wichita Heights back in those days.
Well, please don't give me up as a friend after I mention what I'm about to mention. I think the most shocking result I heard during my years at the Wichita Eagle were when you guys lost to Topeka when you were a sophomore and Antoine was a senior. That team looked like it was going to win the state championship, and you got bounced out in the sub-state. Sorry to bring that up, Aubrey. I knew that was a bad decision the minute I started talking about it.
No, Bob, but one thing about being a former player, that if you listen to most of the stories, people in general never talk about their success as far as winning. It's always about those tough losses, and I can really remember that. So that does not bother me. And you have those conversations with people in the past, and you have rivalry who bring up things like the South High rivals, and they remember when they win, they bring it up and say, hey, we beat you guys. And what can you say? Say, hey, you won. You move on.
We're so far removed from those years now. It's amazing how time just passes. You know, I talk to people all the time. I'm a 69-year-old man now. I talk to people about those years of City League basketball. It's hard to even describe how good this league was at that time because every team had really good players. There were no teams that you thought, oh, we can win this one easily. It was a battle, truly a battle every night, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It was definitely not a day off as far as playing from Capon to Carroll to Northwest. to anyone, North High, you can name it. And every Tuesday and Friday were definitely a battle in front of pack houses. They're very exciting. And you're right, it was just tough back in those days. And we produced a lot of major college players and guys that went on to play JUCO ball too. So very highly competitive and very talented players we played back in the era.
Aubrey, I always enjoy talking with you. It's fun to catch up. We appreciate it. We'll get you on again soon and see how the Shockers fare here in the next month or so.
All right. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks.
All right. Aubrey Sherrod. All right. We'll take a break.
Why do you keep giving yourself an extra year? You're 68 still.
I'll be 69 in less than 2 months.
Yeah, well, no one does that.
You round up.
You do?
Yeah. I was 68 until September 5th.
So you get 6 months?
If you round up.
That's dumb. Why would anyone round up?
Well, I don't know. You can't round down.
You're 68, man.
I'm 68. Good news for everyone. I'll be back with Jeff. Stay with us.
The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/stream and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in Virginia. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.